happen this afternoon that is going to be hard to predict. But there is one thing that I'll be able to predict for you, and that is my little talk is going to be over in 6 minutes and 40 seconds. You can time it. So thank you, Caroline, for the introduction. I am Eric Pedersen, and I am the CEO of a fish farm called Ideal Fish that's located in Waterbury, Connecticut. I'm here to tell a story about how it is a Wall Street investment banker, which I was for about 30 years, suddenly decided to become a fish farmer, to lead a relatively lucrative career and do this. And I suspect that many of you don't know fish farmers, particularly ones that are investment bankers. And there are days when I wake up and I feel like I'm up to my eyeballs in fish. And it's not exactly the career I was expecting to end up with. I wear overalls rather than suits and ties. But we're really trying to help promote seafood consumption in this country. And I got started by creating, secretly, a little basement system that I didn't tell my wife or my kids about for a long time. And one by one, our kitchen implements, from salad bowls to tubes and things like this, would vanish. And one day, my wife was curious about where it was all going, and she came down and took a look. And what she discovered was I was working on a new project, which was how to get people to actually buy and eat more fish. And this is an actual study that came out not long ago that talked about exactly the benefits, not only to your cardiovascular health and your brain function, even the development of young infants, but yeah, your love life too. So, what we're trying to do here is to create a different model for growing fish using recirculating aquaculture systems. And what it does is allows us to really focus on the fish themselves, and we can recover and repurpose all of the waste products that come out of fish production. And these are provided to field farmers. And this is really very consistent with the tenets of conscious capitalism. The idea is to have a company that has a purpose. There's a reason for it to be that's beyond making money for the shareholders. There are stakeholders, not just the shareholders. There's leadership that is focused on this. And then there's a culture of the entire employee that's focused on delivering on these principles. And I got started by joining the B Corp circuit. And B Corps are actually certified companies that adhere to many of the principles and tenets of conscious capitalism. It's a Connecticut entity that's been around for about 15 years. And in order to be a certified B Corp, you have to do things like focus on the environment. And had conscious capitalism and B Corp been around for 75 years, we might not be facing the existential crisis that global warming presents our planet and our way of life today, because the environment wouldn't have been a stakeholder. And this was really, this was a huge epiphany for me. I thought, wow, I'm working for more than my shareholders. I'm working for the environment. And so I joined the first, cohort of what is called a Conscious Leaders Network. This is a group of CEOs and directors that actually have influence in companies. And what we're trying to do is to promote these ideals within the companies. And so for us, that means to create a really high quality product that in some way replaces the things that are coming out of the ocean and are being, provided to the Americans in a way that they consume mercury and other types of contaminants that aren't good for you. And by doing this in a way that doesn't have these wild contaminants, we can create products that Americans like to eat. And these are things like the salmon that we actually procure from another recirculating farm. We rebrand as Ideal Fish, and we make it ready to eat and ready to consume. And this is something that the American seafood consumer prizes, because they're not as comfortable eating seafood in the kitchen as our brethren in Europe. This is our smoked bronzino, and it's great. Cheese board as an appetizer. It is a great addition, and all you got to do is unwrap it. You can warm it a little bit and put it right on your plate. This speaks to the American demand for seafood, and that's what we're trying to do, is to meet this demand to promote additional consumption. And then, of course, there's poop. And the poop is actually one of our major product lines now. And this is part of a circular economy. This is one where no longer are there waste streams. And if you think about it, with any manufacturing process, there can be no waste streams. It's simply raw materials that are used for other purposes. And this is part of our story at farmers markets. And farmers markets are where we get to meet our customers. This is an important part of our product development and a way of understanding what do the customers need. And we actually had a pet food manufacturer come up and say, hey, can we have some of your tailings? These are things you might throw out. And they became, a provider of product for us, and also as well as, many of the other vendors. And vendors are important to us because we're just the assembly of our raw materials. That's all we are. So if I'm buying raw materials that are not sustainably made, then I'm unable to make that claim. And that's an important part of who we are. So as a seafood consumer, there's a lot of misinformation and antiquated notions of what fish farming really is. But what I can tell you is about wild capture farming can hinder the environment. And while this can be done in an artisanal way, it's important to think about this when you shop for fish. So our team is a group of very highly motivated people. We are trying to find new ways to engage them. This is an important part of the conscious capitalism movement, to empower your force to create a breadth of experience, a breadth of connection. And we're not done yet. We have a long way to go still. And it's not always easy to have your employees turn their back on you and say, I don't like what you're doing, you need to do better. But this is an important part of what drives our employees, and we don't have quiet quitting. We don't have some of the dynamics that are in the workforce today. We are planning to expand, and our mission, beyond simply creating a good company, is to promote research aquaculture globally. And I will not feel like I have done my job if all I've done is build my small company. It's going to be important to make this become the way in which seafood is produced globally. So in the end, for me, this is all about gratitude. I'm thankful for the support I've gotten along the way. I'm grateful for the resources that have been given to me at my disposal. And most of all, I'm really happy that you all came and spent 6.4 seconds listening to a fish farmer. Thank you.